All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. It is now effectively the longest U.S. government shutdown in history. Currently, I think today makes day 36. Government's been shut down for 36 days. We do have some actual data going out this morning. We got the ADP non-farm employment change data going live at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. It is expected today. The non-farm employment change is expected at 32,000. 32,000. Let me put this up on screen. We'll get a timer. Will the market hold? Let me know in chat right now. We have had some rumblings and everything here. If you take a look at everything, number one, just to cover the most recent breaking news. McDonald's posted earnings. They're kind of flat from their earnings report so far. They posted 322 EPS. They expected 332, so they actually missed EPS revenue for McDonald's. Revenue came in at 7.08. They expected 7.1, so they missed revenue as well. Comp sales came in about flat at 3.6% versus expected 3.59%. And they expect nearly 1,800 net restaurant additions this year in 2025. So that's McDonald's, mostly flat. AMD had earnings yesterday, and you can kind of see they are not reacting well to their earnings. They reported better than expected results, but margin guidance only flat. And so they beat quarter three. They beat quarter three estimates, reaffirmed guidance, but market did not like it. It's still down. AMD down to 237s as we speak here, 237. But yeah, so we also have seen odds for the government shutdown decrease. They were projected to last until November 1st or December 1st. At least in a lot of areas, we've seen decreases here. They still think average time is 45 days. It's 36 days. 45 days would be 9 days away. That would be before Friday, basically next week. Before next Friday is on the date. I think we'll have a deal done to reopen the government by Sunday, personally. But we'll see. NASDAQ is moving up, but everything's mostly down on the day. I was green yesterday, honestly. Bad news is good news. I don't know. Let's do a poll here. Are you bullish or bearish on today's ADP jobs data? There's the poll. Poll is now live. And we do have data coming out today. I'll put a timer up on screen. Data drops in 55 minutes. So we do have some data. NASDAQ is looking pretty strong though this morning. After gapping down, it's still down on the day. If we take a look at the NQ here, the previous closing price on the NQ was up here at 25,557. So here's the previous closing price, and this is where we are now. So we're starting to climb our way back up there, but we're still red on the day technically. Bitcoin, obviously people got freaked out by Bitcoin. Gold under $4,000 an ounce. Bitcoin sitting at 102s right now. Yesterday dipped below 100,000 for a little while. But again, 100,000 seemed to hold it as support. And we're back up to 102 level here now for Bitcoin. But crypto people freaking out. We'll see what happens there. Seeing Burry short Nvidia and Palantir is kind of scaring me. What if he's right again? Well, look, I'll put it this way. Those filings, I've said this many times yesterday, those filings have a 45-day lag. 45 days ago, Palantir and Nvidia were lower than they are now. So if he bought them 45 days ago, he's probably red. Again, I don't know for sure. Again, McDonald's posted earnings. They kind of missed EPS and revenue. Some other small companies, but again, AMD's what's freaking the market out this morning, but we're starting to fight our way back up here. We're starting to head back up. Again, we do have jobs data going live. It's the first real jobs data. If you look at Polymarket, the odds decreased substantially yesterday. Now they're thinking November 13th, which would be about a week and a day away from now. A week and a day. Yeah, so 72% of people think the government shutdown will end. Or, no, I'm sorry, 71% of people think the government shutdown will end before the 13th. I hope it ends this week, though. We'll see. Again, all eyes are on the ADP jobs report at 8:15 market time. It's the only available proxy for the data that we're not getting during the government shutdown. Market's kind of in a risk-off mood again after AMC posted what the market interpreted as disappointing numbers here. If we take a look at 10-year treasuries, we're still basically flat. We're basically where we were the last few days. We're basically at 4.1%. We're a little bit lower maybe today than we were the previous few days. Like, we dropped some yesterday. But you can see we're at 4.08%. Not quite 4.1% where we were at, but essentially unchanged. If we take a look at rate cut odds here this morning, 71.1% likely of a rate cut in December. 71% to 29% basically is where we're at now with rate cut odds. There's still no deal, no new negotiations scheduled. House is in recess. Senate has no votes planned on the funding bill. They did vote again yesterday for a clean CR. It was basically the same. You know, the left rejected it, and that's kind of where we're at now. They can't seem to agree on things. I think both sides need to get together and figure it out. Well, we also had news yesterday that following a federal court order, they have to release partial funding for SNAP benefits, so like food stamps. So they have to release partial funding for that. November 15th is the military pay day. It's a big deadline to watch. So, and we also have ISM services today. NFP report jolts yesterday, trade balance today. These are all delayed as well. Again, AMD down about 6% in pre-market. Company beat Q3 earnings and revenue. Q4 guidance was only in line with expectations, and in the current market, in line is not good enough. AMD's down to 230s. If you take a look at like Nvidia here, Nvidia at under 200s at 197. Bitcoin has had some fear. Yeah, we got ISM PMI today. So we do have ISM PMI. Jolts isn't coming out though. Jolts is delayed. Did they push back Jolts just a day? Meta spending spree recalls metaverse debacle that crushed stock. What? What article is this? Yeah, but we do have ISM PMI today. We do have the jobs report. And today makes it day 36, government shutdown, day 36. They did have some news articles that said that the Department of Transportation could potentially shut down airspace in parts of the U.S. if the shutdown continues into next week. 50% of traffic control facilities are facing shortages. 13,000 air traffic control employees are working without pay. And I think here's the breaking point for the government shutdown. I couldn't imagine, like, okay, military payday, 15th of this month, right? We're going into the holiday season. Are they really going to let the military get paid or not get paid during Thanksgiving and Christmas? Like, this is when you buy the Christmas presents. You know, are they really going to let them not get paid? I don't think so necessarily. I think they're going to figure it out before then. I think the odds, now that the elections are over, the odds are going to drop substantially for the shutdown continuing deep. And we'll probably get a resumption of the government. Again, I think by Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, maybe not, though. Maybe not. We did have some stock news come out. CrowdStrike, CoreWeave announced a major global partnership. So we did have CoreWeave and CrowdStrike announce a partnership. CrowdStrike isn't really up much. CoreWeave is, though. CoreWeave's up a little bit. We had mortgage rates show up at 6.31%, so actually a little bit elevated from last week. Yeah. Yeah, Palantir down a little bit. It's still at 180s though, you know? So it's consolidating. It's down a little bit on the day right now, but it's not like the worst it could ever be. Nvidia 197s, AMD at 238s, gold under $4,000 an ounce, Bitcoin back over 100K. And again, we're heading into jobs data in 45 minutes. Jobs data in 45 minutes. We'll see what we get. We finally got something to talk about here. Yeah, they do. Yeah, so jobs, so right now all government data is delayed, right? This includes JOLTS that was supposed to come out yesterday, or today. This includes non-farm payrolls, labor report, unemployment report that's supposed to show up on Friday. This includes the weekly jobless claims report. This includes all the government data we would normally get, PCE inflation data, CPI inflation data, PPI inflation data. All of that stuff's delayed right now. It's just not coming out. We're not seeing it. Not until the government resumes, and then we'll probably get, all the data that we missed will be compiled, and we'll figure it out then. But for now, because of that dynamic here with the government shutdown, we are now pivoting to private data by ADP. ADP releases, if the labor report, or if the ADP non-farm employment change report isn't coming out, ADP is now going to be releasing a weekly report, kind of to replace jobless claims a little bit. That's not why they're doing it, but it's going to kind of replace the jobless claims weekly unemployment filings report that we get every Thursday. That's coming out every Tuesday now. And the reason we didn't get it yesterday is because today we have the monthly report from ADP. It's private payroll data. And we'll see what happens. Now, it doesn't include government payrolls and all the stuff that we would normally see in like the labor report, the unemployment percentage and all that stuff. But it does show us where private payrolls are at. And that report is today. They are expecting 32,000 jobs. Today, 32,000 jobs for the ADP non-farm employment change report for October. 32,000. Last time it showed up at a negative 32K. So it is expected to bump back up a little bit here on this labor report data. And we'll see what it gets. We'll see what it gets. You guys think we'll have good or bad data? Let me know in chat right now. You can also vote on the poll, which we're honestly pretty 50-50 split. 49% say bull, 51% say bear. So let me know what you guys think there right now. You can see the expectation at the scroller in the bottom of the screen as well. And yeah, we'll see what we get. John, what are your thoughts on when the market opens? Do you think we'll have a pullback due to all the data being released at once? I don't think we're going to resume and the data is all of a sudden going to come out. I think we're going to resume and then they're going to schedule the data. And they're probably going to schedule it coinciding with the next major data release that is with the same like BLS, you know. So if it's a BLS data release, like they'll probably schedule it around then. And I think we're going to see more variance, more volatility from that type of stuff, just because we're going to have so much more data to digest quickly. But again, personally, I think the government shutdown will end by Sunday. I think the government shutdown is going to be over by Sunday. Maybe by next Friday if it pushes back a little bit longer. I don't think they're going to subject the military to not getting paid during the holiday season. I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to allow us to get to Thanksgiving with the messes that we see in airspace. I don't think they're going to let us go into December without a lot of people getting paid. I think it would just cause like a big mess on both sides. And so I think we're going to have a deep incentive to get a deal done before then. But you never freaking know. You know, we'll see what happens. You can kind of see the data timer is right here. So we got 41 minutes, 42 minutes or so, give or take. For jobs data and probability of rate cut increase, we see a recovery, although we are not in the clear yet. Yeah, I mean, it's expected. The data today is expected at 32,000. So that's what the data is expected today at 32K. The question is good news bad news right now? Like, essentially, does a higher jobs reading show less likelihood of a rate cut in December? I think so. If we get stronger jobs, it means we're less likely to cut rates in December. If we get weaker jobs, it means we're more likely to cut rates in December. And if the market wants another cut in December, the question is, how does the market digest these jobs? Is it a good as good or bad as bad scenario? Is it a good as bad and bad as good scenario? That's the real question here today, I think, leading into this. Again, somebody's asking me about microchips. We've seen some pullbacks in all the microchips, including AMD. AMD released earnings yesterday. BDPS and revenue, kind of flat guidance. Market didn't like the flat guidance, and it is down. 240s from their earnings report. Did not hold, but to be fair to AMD, though, this is AMD's run since September 29th when they announced the deal with OpenAI. That's where it was. It was at 160s. AMD's at 240s now. Even if it can just hold most of these gains, AMD's still doing really, really good over the last month. Really, really good over the last month. Again, here's October 6th. Again, it was at 160 a share. It's now at 240 a share. Yeah, sure, it's not at 270s or whatever, but AMD is still doing really, really well relative to where it was. And I think if most of these AI and tech stocks and microchip stocks can just hold the gains that they have made over the last month, that's a win for them. You know, you got to understand, nothing's going to go up ridiculous. Like, it's not healthy for AMD to go up even more, in my opinion, where it's breaking $300 a share when it was at 160 a month ago. I think that's where we start to see big corrections. And you want the correction, if we get one, to be small. And so I think you just have to have reasonable expectations for something like AMD, considering the past month and a half of price action and movement. I think you got to just look at it objectively and understand that this thing was at $160 a share a month ago. And so reasonable expectations are important here. CoreWeave had a deal with CrowdStrike, that what they called a major global partnership for CoreWeave. It's up a little bit from this. It's heading up there, you know. Yeah, so Fed employees can't be paid because the law that funds their salaries expired on the September 30th date. That's kind of why. Again, AMD's starting to fight its way back, though. So if we zoom in on AMD here, AMD's back up. The 241s. 250 seems like a big level for it. Again, we're waiting on the jobs data. Yeah, I see somebody saying, what do they say? Military gets paid through Navy Federal Credit Union. Talk to anyone actually in the service for actual info. I mean, you might be right about that, but the checks come from the Treasury, you know? It's not who distributes the check, but who provides the money in the first place for it, you know? And that comes from the government. So the money for the payroll doesn't come from Navy Federal's own bank vault. It comes from the U.S. Treasury Department, which is the Department of Defense. And so during the shutdown, the Treasury is legally barred from sending new payments. The Treasury Secretary has warned that by November 15th, they will have exhausted all legal loopholes and funding sources, is what they're saying. So. Priced in bad news yesterday? Maybe. Honestly, AMD's ripping back up and it's dragging the market back up with us. Look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA fighting its way back up to 197. NASDAQ is still red on the day, but we're kind of flat leading into this jobs report. We did drop on AMD earnings, but AMD is back up here. It's right at the 200 exponential at 242s. Look at AMD, the NASDAQ, and NVIDIA start to fight their way back up. We can take a look at like Apple as well. Bitcoin fighting its way back up, almost to 103s now. Yeah, I don't know. According to AI, and just to preface this, AI is not the most accurate thing. But AI says that the NFCU and USAA offer an early pay service as a courtesy to their members, but the U.S. Treasury sends the payroll files to banks before payday. Sometimes those banks will often advance their members the money as soon as they see the file before official payday. But during the shutdown, the Treasury is legally barred from sending new payments, and that the Treasury Secretary has warned that by the 15th of this month, they will have exhausted loopholes and funding sources. So I think that's a hard deadline for people to watch is the 15th. Maybe I'm just hoping the government resumes, and that's definitely true. I hope the government resumes, but who knows if it will. How free are we? I hope the government lets me fly to see my family. It's not the government doing it. These are federal employees, right? So people that work for the government, you know. I mean, we could argue how free are they? I mean, I don't know. Government, you could hire me. But yeah, I mean, most people don't work for the government. And so we're just talking about the people that do. When is Broadcom earnings? I know NVIDIA earnings are going to move things. NVIDIA earnings are going to be Wednesday, 11/19. Wednesday, 11/19 for NVIDIA earnings. Big day. Big move. We'll see what happens there. Again, looking at our poll, we're pretty 50-50 split down the middle. Which doesn't even seem reasonable. We're completely 50-50 split down the middle. Again, look at the poll right now, guys. We are completely 50-50 split down the middle. Oh, there's my snipping tool. I was looking for it. Okay, there it is. Oh, somebody changed it. Who just voted right now and removed the 50-50 and made it 51-49? It was a bull. Freaking bulls, man. You know? I was going to take a picture of the 50-50 split and you ruined it. Whoever just voted, how dare you? I blame you. It was you, John. I know it. Great name, John. Terrible decision. Okay. I'll always remember you were the one that ruined that ruined the fun today. There we go. Somebody fixed it. Up, now it's back. Look at Nvidia and AMD though, guys. Nvidia at 244s. At 198s. I know. Maybe I'm just tricking you guys into voting on the poll. You know. Maybe not. Anyways, AMD up to 244s right now. Nvidia at 198s. Will Nvidia get back over $200 today, guys? Do you guys think Nvidia gets back over 200? Let me know in chat. Still got 30 minutes until the numbers drop. 30 minutes, chat. Gold? I don't know. Gold's under 4,000. What's the event today about? Today, we actually get some data. AMD all the way back up to 244s right now. Let me make sure there's no news that I'm missing here for AMD. Hold on, guys. Let me make sure. AMD's making a move back up to 244s. Dragging the NASDAQ up with us. A bunch of bots when I search for AMD, so I guess there's no recent news for AMD. People are just starting to buy up microchips this morning. Anyways, the news today is that government shutdown canceled out any NFP data, any labor data that we would normally get from the government, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We also don't get jobless claims. We don't get JOLTS. And so today we are pivoting to private payroll data, which is the ADP non-farm employment change. It's really the only data that we get right now that tells us where jobs are at in the US. It's expected at 32,000 for jobs. 32,000. And honestly, I think the market could go down on either one. If jobs are too hot, it pushes back odds of rate cuts. If jobs are too low, people fear inflation, or people fear recessions, I mean. And, you know, I think both of them are reasonable fears right now. And so I'm wondering which way the market's going to head depending on the data. I'm not really sure. We could have a good as bad scenario where weaker is more positively reacted to and stronger is more negatively reacted to, but I think we could honestly go down on either one, or we could go up on either one. It just depends on the mood the market has leading into this report in 30 minutes. Yeah, lower jobs means a higher chance of a rate cut in December. Higher jobs means a lower chance of a rate cut in December. Regardless of what the market wants, that's objectively true most of the time. Yeah, today is effectively the longest shutdown in history. I got it. We did it. Vote on the poll. They're drip feeding us data. It's something I'm excited for. We got some data here. Yeah, AMD up because of let me see. EVR. We're starting to get a dip here. Deutsche Bank raises price target to 250 from 230. Yeah, I see some raised AMD ratings. Also, AMD received license to export MI300 series chips to China. Says total AI chip market opportunity exceeds $500 billion for AMD. New York Times adds 460,000 digital subscribers in the third quarter. Novo Nordisk, also, the CEO says the Chinese market for obesity drugs is not growing as much as the company had anticipated for NVO. Slightly red on the day with everything going on. AMD finally had a red 5-minute candle here. Let's watch this light green line. I don't know what level this was, but it's worth watching. Again, gold under 4,000, but close enough to where it could retest it pretty easily for gold. Also, Bitcoin fighting its way back up, almost back up to 103K. Bitcoin dipped under 100,000 for, what, like 30 minutes? Yeah, we do have tariff news. The courts are supposed to make the ruling on whether the president's tariffs are constitutional or lawful. Yeah. ISM Services PMI comes out at 10 a.m. That's true. That's correct. It does come out even despite the government shutdown. We saw ISM, which is the Institute of Supply Management. We saw manufacturing PMI. I believe it was Monday. So that's correct. Again, we got about 25 minutes before this jobs data comes out. It's massive data too, honestly. And we're going to start getting an ADP report at least while the government shut down once a week. We're going to start getting an ADP report once a week during the government shutdown. So that's good. At least we'll get something. And again, today is day 36, effectively the longest shutdown in U.S. history for the government. A lot of fear in Bitcoin right now. Are you guys optimistic about Bitcoin? Bitcoin all the way back to 100,000. I almost want to buy this dip though in stocks. Let me see. I'll try to buy it. We'll take a couple, maybe two. See if we get a little bounce here. We got some confirmation support right around where we're at now, so. Plus, we're heading into data, so maybe we'll chop sideways and move up and leading into it. That's kind of the hope. See if AMD bounces at that level we talked about. All right, there we go. We're green. Green, let's see if it keeps going up. Yeah, it's super small. I mean, we're in tiny position here. Anybody that acts like they know the direction for sure on a small position like this. There we go. I'm going to cut half of it right there. You love to see it. Look at that move. I'll cut the rest up here if I can get out. There we go. You love to see it. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Anybody that tries to act like they know for sure which direction something's going when it's right here. Come on now. I'm scalping moves right now in the market. Again, AMD making another move up too, so if it drags the market up, it might continue. ADP drop might be in the title. It also might be at the bottom of the screen in big yellow letters. I'm not saying it is, but it could be potentially there. Allegedly, it's there. ADP drops at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time, by the way. 8:15. got 20 plus minutes. We still got almost 1,000 people here. So I think people are ready for a jobs report. It's been boring, huh? So the S&P 500 pullback may deepen according to BTIG. Their analyst Jonathan Krinsky says the S&P's decline could extend further as technical signals turn negative. He cites overbought conditions, weak market breadth, and complacent sentiment as risks. He said the index hasn't touched its 50-day moving average, which is around 66.54, fallen 3% since April. He sees as minimum downside targets with a move towards 64 and 6,500 likely. He also notes rising caution signals in the market, including higher equity put call ratio, Bitcoin at 100,000, and potential weakness under 4,000 in gold. Do you guys agree with him here? What happens if it's under 32,000? I really don't know. I genuinely don't know. You know, under 32,000 would mean weaker labor for the market, right? It would probably mean higher chance of a 25 basis point cut in December. And again, as of this morning, last time I looked at these odds, yields were just under 4.1% still. And rate cut odds were 71.1% the last time I looked at this. So yeah, yields are at 4.083%. A little bit lower than they were like yesterday, but still mostly at 4.1%. Fed odds, 71.1% likely. It's actually gone up to 72%. So basically people are starting to price in maybe some weaker labor data here at 71.2% for odds for December. We'll see if that happens. Again, going under 4,000, Bitcoin at 100K roughly. AMD reacting negatively to mostly mostly an earnings beat, but neutral guidance for AMD. And it's dragging microchips down, although it's starting to fight its way back up. It's still net red. But again, I'm going to say this once. I'll say it again because I think it's important for people to understand what I'm about to say here. All right. Here is a 4-hour chart on AMD. A 4-hour chart. AMD has gone up from $160 a share October 6th. Less than a month ago, or right around a month ago, $160 a share. Now you might wonder, where's AMD's price now? It's at $243 a share roughly right now this morning. And that's down from where it was into the earnings. And so if AMD can just hold most of these gains that it's made in the last month, I think that's still a win for microchips. I really do. I don't think expecting AMD to blast off to 300 when a month ago it was at 160, almost 100% gain in a month or two. I don't know if that's necessarily healthy for holding long term. I think if you want AMD to hold, you might not want it to go crazy and then have a big crash. I think it's reasonable to expect pullbacks, and you can't expect it to go straight up. So I'm not as worried about AMD's earnings as some other people, but yeah, I mean, the VIX is probably going to be going up the last few days. It's almost at 20, just because the market's been kind of coming down a little bit. Stocks are getting carried by AI, and NVIDIA is the leader with their earnings on the 20th. 19th is when NVIDIA's earnings are. It's the 19th. AI spending fears. I bought AMD at 79 6 months ago. Yeah, that's a good entry. All right, guys, we got 20 minutes exactly, roughly. Maybe a little bit less. Like we got like 19 and a half minutes. If ADP bad, we go up or down. I really don't know. I know this ADP report's a pretty big report right now. Because the market, the Fed, you know, we don't really have anything else to go by in terms of jobs. We don't get Friday's report, so most people's attention is going to pivot to this report today, the ADP non-farm employment change report. Most people are going to look at this report now. So BYD widens its lead over Tesla in the UK. The Chinese automaker BYD sold nearly 7 times more cars than Tesla in the United Kingdom in October, according to industry data. Will Michael Burry take a big loss on an NVIDIA short? If NVIDIA doesn't go down, maybe. Again, my theory, and I might be wrong here. I talked about this yesterday regarding Michael Burry. What's it? Cassandra Unchained is his entry. He's got Obi-Wan in his background picture. He said, quote, October 30th, basically a week ago. Michael Burry said, quote, sometimes we see bubbles, sometimes there is something to do about it, and sometimes the only winning move is not to play. End quote, Michael Burry. A little cryptic. My theory is that the filings that we see from Scion have a 45-day lag, which would mean Burry shorted Palantir like at like 180s at least. He might have shorted Nvidia here if we look 45 days ago. You know, Nvidia is going to be at like what, 160s 45 days ago. And so if that's true, maybe he made this post when he lost and had to cover those put options. Right? Like that makes sense. This seems like something like, hey, you lost a bunch of money shorting. Sometimes the only winning move is to not to play, which is the last thing he said in his tweet. That's my theory. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just guessing. I'm speculating. But let me know what you guys think. Yeah, AMD back when he might have taken the short was in like September, right? So AMD at 160s is at 250 right now. He had to cover that position. No, I don't think he's gonna hold through that type of game here because again, OpenAI and AMD announced a partnership. I don't think he can hold through that. I think he might have covered it. Let's see, October 30th. Whew, we're almost at the top. Yeah, I mean, again, pure speculation. I'm just guessing here. But, again, look at Bitcoin. Back up to 103,000 in Bitcoin futures. Oh, I would definitely cover. I wouldn't have taken this short to begin with. No offense. I mean, Michael Burry, richer than me, higher net worth than me, probably smarter than me. You know, got movies made about him. I don't know any movies made about me. So I'm not hating on Michael Burry. But I wouldn't have taken those shorts. That's just not my style. All right, guys, we got 15 minutes. He's not short, but has put options. I don't know how to respond to that. All right, guys, 15 minutes. Let's see what we get. I'm ready for this report. Bring it on. Again, NASDAQ. I think it's a long-term play. Doesn't care about being underwater short-term. Yeah, no, I know it's a quote from War Games. Gold's starting to move back up with everything here. Again, AMD has fought its way back up to 243. Still red. Previous closing price on AMD is 250. Yeah, I don't need a haircut. I just need to cut my hair. Okay. We're pulling back to 521s here. 521s. Well, if he's selling put options, that means he's essentially going long, right? But I'm pretty sure he bought put options in the filing. So it's essentially a short, but with more conditions. Time-related conditions, time decay, and... All right, guys. Hey, we got 14 minutes left. 14 minutes left. Again, big jobs data coming through. Let's see what the jobs data shows. Jim Cramer said, quote, this might be the greatest bull sign ever. Jim Cramer, quote, longest shutdown will send markets lower, end quote. Does that mean we're going up? You're telling me there's a chance. He's also talking about McDonald's. All right, here we go, guys. We got 13 minutes, 12 minutes until the ADP non-farm employment data going live. Again, it's expected at 32,000. ADP jobs data coming through. We have the Supreme Court's decision on the president's tariffs going live today too, so you want to pay attention to that as well. It's right around 9 o'clock is when it's going to start, I think. So again, we got jobs data going live, ADP jobs data going live soon. Again, we got the ADP jobs report expected at 32,000. Let me know right now, does the market want higher or lower jobs? Higher or lower jobs? You might say, hey, the market always wants higher jobs. I'm here to tell you that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. The market could always want lower jobs, especially if they want rate cuts, if they fear inflation. Weaker jobs is always better in that those situations, but not always. Weaker jobs are most of the time better in those situations. So again, let me know what you think the market wants right now in this report. Lower for cuts. I wouldn't get tied too much to one specific thesis there. You know, I just wouldn't. Because again, I cover all these big reports. Like I cover this data every time it comes out. What you have to understand is that it could always change. It could always pull back. It could always go the opposite of which way you think. So just be careful. We'll cover it as soon as it drops. But just be careful. Again, I'm showing anywhere between 25 to 32,000 jobs expected. 25 to 32,000. 8:15 market time. That's in about 11 minutes here, chat. 11 minutes. Be ready. NASDAQ's mostly rebounding after gapping down overnight. Bitcoin is as well, over 103,000 in Bitcoin futures. AMD as well, originally reacted negatively to earnings. Well, they cut in December. It depends on what this data shows, to be completely honest. And it depends on whether, one of the big things that's going to dictate whether we cut in December is going to be whether the government resumes in and allows us to get more data in before that decision, right? If we don't get more data in before that decision, this is going to change like all that stuff, right? So if we don't get, this is going to influence it heavy. Again, massive job report going live in 10 minutes. NASDAQ rip it up higher again. So not highs of the day necessarily, but we're getting up there. We're ready for this jobs report. We're getting up there. Again, ADP non-farm employment data. We're going to cover it as soon as it drops. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Morgan Stanley says Google Cloud could grow 50% next year. They expect Google Cloud revenue to rise over 50% in 2026, driven by strong backlog growth and expanding on-demand workloads. Yeah, Google moving up a little bit. Could be dragging markets higher. It is Mag 7, so Google up to 279.10s right out in pre-market. Dipping down some here. Still waiting for this report. Again, we got about 9 minutes, 8 minutes left. Look at this pullback in NASDAQ here. Yeah, I think the government shutdowns will end before the start of December, personally. I think even the odds on Polymarket and stuff like that have changed drastically. They think it's going to end before the 16th of November. Again, 7.5 minutes left. McDonald's is already out. McDonald's missed EPS, missed revenue, and I think they had okay guidance, if I remember correctly. They were kind of flat from their earnings report, but McDonald's is already out. They came out noticeably earlier. It's like 7 a.m. market time or so when it dropped. Hope you're right, John. Even more time for the data to influence markets. Well, yeah. All right, guys, we got about 8 minutes left, 7 minutes. We'll see what this labor data shows here. It's time. IBM says consulting collaborates with Red Hat to help clients usher an era of hybrid cloud and AI transformation at IBM Client Innovation Center. Here we go. 7 minutes. Yeah, shutdown is now the longest in United States history. Effectively, 36 days is how long the shutdown has lasted. It's lasted since October 1st. It's now November 5th. October has 31 days plus 5. That makes it 36 days. It was effectively the longest shutdown in history already. The longest full shutdown. Now it is the longest shutdown ever. So... yeah, aviation. I don't think we're going to get it today. But I think it'll probably be Friday, maybe Sunday, maybe next week. All right, guys. 6 minutes. Less than 6 minutes. Make sure you put it in 2x speed. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you fully catch up to the stream. We appreciate it. We actually have a jobs report today, guys, so just be ready. So I see the Supreme Court decision is supposed to come out, what? Like it's supposed to start at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock market time. So it's supposed to start in like 50 minutes. I'm not sure when that report's going to drop, but it's supposed to start something like that. Hey, man, just want to say how thankful I am for you and your stream. Your consistency is nice, and it's nice to see you start early. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Y'all give me a follow on x.com at Beginner Trades. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. NASDAQ starting to dip down a little bit. Again, I think we had to watch like AMD. AMD had good earnings, but pulled back some. Neutral guidance. 5 minutes here, chat. 5 minutes. Jobs report will be very good. Bullish market ahead. Do you think the market will react favorably to a bullish jobs or a higher jobs report than expected? Is that what you guys think? I don't know. Hey, what's up? I'll stare. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, sir. I concur. Matey talks sense. I try. Top 3 most sense talking people in the world right now. NASDAQ coming down. We're at 500s. I'm gonna start using Matey though. It's very favorite-esque. All right, we're going down. We're at 513s. Lower jobs report for bullish sentiment. I don't know. I think during the shutdown, it might be normal. Like maybe a lower report will make markets go down and higher, make markets go up. Just because we're on the shutdown, and I think people fear the shutdown, the uncertainty. I think we should watch gold as well, though. I'm going to put gold up here. Like we have NVIDIA up, and I'm going to leave AMD up. But I'm going to put gold up here. I want to see how gold reacts to this jobs report. All right, guys. We got 3.5 minutes. 32,000. Anywhere between 25 and 32 is honestly what I'm showing here. 25 and 32K is what I'm showing. Jobs report drops in about 3 minutes, guys. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Catch up to the stream. Put it in 2x speed if you want. All right, guys. Again, last time it was negative 32,000. Negative 32,000 last time. The shutdown will end when John goes back to training jiu-jitsu. I hope not. I'm not training jiu-jitsu probably until mid-December, realistically. Just to let myself heal all the way. You know. All right, guys. Here we go. Again, the September report showed a negative 32,000 jobs. Negative 32K jobs for September. We're going to see what this report shows. We're kind of pulling back a little bit into this. Again, 2 minutes left. Negative 100,000 would be chaos. If we had a negative 100,000 jobs report, that would be a wild report here. And again, stick around, hit the live button next to the play button. We got about a minute and a half left. About a minute and a half. Negative 50K. Let me know your last minute predictions here in chat. What do you guys think this number is going to show up as? It's expected at anywhere between 25 and 32,000 jobs gained for October. Let me know where you guys think this report's going to be at. All right, guys, we got about a minute and a half. Negative 36 plus 21 plus 20K. Negative 15K. 17,000. I'm gonna go with 11,000 jobs created. Or no, I'm gonna go with 17,000 actually. I'm gonna go with 11 or 17. I got 2 votes. Diversify, you know. I'm just guessing, straight up guess, don't copy me. We got 45 seconds left here, chat. 45 seconds left. This timer's a little bit early. 40 seconds left. 25K? That's as expected. Negative 48K. All right, here we go, guys. 20 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. Live next to the play button. Catch up to the stream. Here we go. We got 15 seconds. Yeah, I think the shutdown impacted this data some. All right, here we go. Here's the report. And the report goes live right now. ADP non-farm employment. 42,000 jobs gained. 42K. 42,000 jobs gained. Versus 25,000 expected, higher than expected. 42K jobs. NASDAQ is up a little bit. 42,000 jobs gained for October. 42,000 jobs. 42K versus 25K expected. Previous of negative 25K or negative 29,000. And so I think they actually revised that up a little bit. Again, non-farm employment jobs are out. Better than expected. Better than expected. $42,000 versus expected 25,000. Let's go ahead and read this full report here. Again, we showed 42K versus 32,000 expected. Again, 42,000 jobs expected. 25,000. So NASDAQ is kind of underwhelmingly reacting to this. It didn't really react that much to this, to be honest here. I'm looking for them to update the report, but again, better than expected jobs. higher than expected. 42,000 expected 25 to 30,000. I showed 35,000, but better than expected here. I'll put this data up on screen real quick with the scroller at the bottom, just so you guys can see it. Here's the data on the bottom of the screen with a scroller, just so you can see the actual report. All right, so again, private employees added 42,000 last month, delivered a rebound from 2 months of weak hiring, but the bounce wasn't broad-based. Education and trade, as well as healthcare, transportation, and utilities led the growth for the third straight month. Employers shed jobs in professional business services, information and leisure and hospitality. Private employers added jobs in October for the first time since July, but hiring was modest relative to what we reported earlier in the year. Meanwhile, pay growth has been largely flat for more than a year, indicating that shifts in supply and demand are balanced. You can kind of see the jobs change here in U.S. private employment. Small businesses lost about 15,000 jobs. Medium-sized small businesses larger small businesses posted 5,000 job gains. Mid-sized businesses lost 25,000 jobs, although the higher end mid-size gained 3,000 jobs. Large businesses gained 74,000 jobs, and by industry, natural resources and mining, 7K. Construction, 5,000. Love you, buddy.
Love you.
Have a good day at school, dude. Construction, 5,000. Manufacturing lost 3,000 jobs. Trade and transportation, I love you. Have a good day at school. Trade, transportation, and utilities gained 47,000 jobs. Information lost 17,000. Financial activities gained 11,000. Professional and business services lost 15,000. Education and health gained 25,000. Leisure and hospitality lost 5,000, and other services lost 14,000. NASDAQ is mostly up from this, though. We have seen a little bit of a good reaction here. Again, that's the jobs report that we have so far. That's the jobs report we have so far. And, yeah, we'll see what we get right now, honestly. But markets are mostly up. What do you guys think? Does the market hold these gains? Yeah, it was a good report, honestly. But what it does, if we take a look at, like, yields right now, yields are probably spiking up right now because the odds of a rate cut, yeah, look, if I look at yields are spiking up on this report. Why? Because yields and interest rates follow each other, and stronger jobs means less needed to cut rates. And so yields are spiking up almost back up to 4.1% as we speak right now. I'm sure the non-farm data will eventually sway the rate cut odds. I already see them decreasing a little bit down to under 70% here for odds of a rate cut. So yields are spiking on this report, showing lower odds for a rate cut in December now. And again, let me know. Let me do another poll here. We're gonna do another poll right now, and the poll is gonna say, considering the recent ADP jobs report, does the Fed cut rates in December? Yes or no? Vote on the poll, because again, according to yields, they think we have less odds for rate cuts. It doesn't mean we're not going to cut rates. It's still the most probable outcome here. And this will change eventually, the Fed watch tool. But yields are spiking up on this, as they should be. I mean, it shows stronger jobs, less of a need to cut rates. Yeah, I mean, just to put this into perspective, right? A good jobs report is like 100K. You know, 150K. We've seen jobs reports show up at like 250 before. 42,000 is still a pretty low number for jobs, all things considered. I think when you read the report itself, right? When you read this report, don't speculate. Bro, my job is to speculate. That's all I do here. I would say I'm the top 3 speculators ever. But no, if we take a look, no, this isn't the right one. Here's October. Last month delivered a rebound from 2 months of weak hiring, but the bounce wasn't broad-based. Third straight month, employers shed jobs in professional business services, information, leisure, and hospitality. Private employers added jobs in October for the first time in July, but hiring was modest relative to what we reported this year. So it's still a weak jobs report if we take into account what a strong jobs report has been over the last few years. But it's stronger than expected, and a lot of the time everything is based off of expectations. And so that's the way you kind of have to look at it. Oh, I'm definitely biased. I'm the most biased ever. Understand all this stuff on screen. I'm not an investment professional. Don't copy me. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything, guys. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me. The cat is out of the bag. Looking at our poll, 66% of people think yes, we do cut rates in December. I think that's probably true. I still think we cut. But it's certainly not a guaranteed thing, you know. It's certainly not a guaranteed thing. And again, what we're seeing here, guys, we're seeing weakness in small businesses. You know, small to medium-sized businesses saw a small gain. Small, mid-sized businesses lost 25,000 jobs, and even like the larger mid-sized businesses only gained 3,000 jobs. Large businesses gained 74,000. They were obviously the strongest thing. So large businesses are not struggling as much as some of the smaller ones, is what we're seeing from this jobs report. Trade, transportation, and utilities, big gains. Big losses for professional and business services, other services, and information services. So, with that said, NASDAQ's starting to pop. We'll see if it holds. We do have the Supreme Court decision. We do have the Supreme Court decision, Jobs, remember. See what that looks like. Do you guys think the Supreme Court will uphold these tariffs? Because that could really move markets, honestly. Like, the Supreme Court decision today can genuinely affect markets in a big way. It could cancel out the tariffs, and people might like that. It can cancel out the tariffs, and people might not like that. So, yeah. See. Yeah, the president sent to speak. He's supposed to deliver remarks at a breakfast with GOP senators today. All right. Gold spiking up on this jobs report. Bitcoin back under 103. AMD creeping back up to 243s as well. If tariffs are canceled, we're ripping. I don't know. I just did this poll about the ADP report and rate cuts in December. Let's see if the rate cut odds have swung a little bit back here. So again, rate cut odds have actually stayed mostly flat, but a little bit of an increase in a December cut. And if we are seeing an increase in December cut odds, my guess it's because even with the 42,000 jobs, it's still a weak report. It's still not strong. Like, that's not a strong jobs report. If we take the standards of the last few years into it, that's not a strong report still. But it is better than expected, so yields are going to spike. But and again, looking at our votes, 67% agree. They think we are going to cut rates in December. Trump said 1 year ago I had that big, beautiful victory. Again, 10-year yield spiked. So did 2-year yields. They spiked as well. Yeah, I mean, the shutdown's going to end. Again, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about this again. I think they're going to figure it out before military paychecks deadline on the 15th. I don't think they're going to let government workers go into the holiday season without getting paid. I mean, they could, certainly. I just don't think they will. I don't think they're also going to allow airports and the air flight travel to be so disrupted leading into the holiday on the 29th. I think we're going to get a deal done this month. I think it's very, very likely. And I think odds show the same thing. Most people think we're going to get a deal done this month. Let me see if I can figure out exactly what time the Supreme Court decision is going to be. I see a couple streams for it starting at 9 a.m. in 30 minutes, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, so far on the poll, we got 68% they say yes, we will cut rates in December now. NASDAQ breaking up towards highs of the day here. So highs of the day in the NASDAQ are at 553. We're at 546s. We're getting close. All right, so I'm showing regarding the Supreme Court decision. I don't know if it's going to come out at 9 a.m., but I'll buy a pullback in the NASDAQ. We are green on the day, but it's small. NASDAQ still edging higher, just broke highs of the day here. I was going to buy a dip, but we didn't really get one. I guess the market likes the jobs report. The president on U.S. shutdown says it was a big factor in elections. So the president is speaking right now. He said, I don't think they will act soon on shutdown. Don't think it'll be sorted soon. Shutdown was a big factor in elections. Gold. Guys, look at AMD, NASDAQ, gold. Everything's ripping up right now. These are some moves. I hope he's wrong. I hope we do end soon. 34% of people think we'll end next week by Tuesday. Really, it's a little bit higher than that. So like 40-something people. %70 of people think we'll end before the 15th next week. And he's not really saying anything that would move markets, in my opinion. He said the stock market will hit more record highs, actually. Shutdown now affecting stock market. Stock market has hit many record highs in the last 9 months. The shutdown is impacting the stock market. See if we continue higher here, chat. All right, I'm looking for more quotes. He said, time for Republicans to terminate filibuster. All right, so Treasury sets quarterly refunding at $125 billion, which is in line with estimates. All right, we're at 565 right now, guys. 565. NASDAQ still pushing higher here. Nvidia is what's ramping up here. Nvidia up to almost 199s right now. 199s. We're seeing Nvidia ramp up here. Look at Nvidia now technically green on the day when it was red all morning at 199. Looks like it wants $200, which is right up here. Nasdaq still fighting its way higher. Nasdaq almost green on the day. Google also at green on the day already. All right, guys. We are seeing a big dip here. Okay, gotcha, Will. Yeah, I'm checking now. All right, guys. So, yeah, Treasury sell 58 billion in 3-year notes, expected 58, 42 billion in 10-year, expected 42, 25 and 30-year bonds, expected 25, so flat there. Look at this dip right now. So we are getting a pullback. If we get a large enough pullback, I will buy the dip. It needs to be a large enough dip, though. All right, so there's the dip. Do I want to buy this? I don't know. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, so the Supreme Court is scheduled to hear oral arguments in the major case challenging his tariffs. Not a decision day, it's just the argument, so it's going to be watched heavy. All right, now we're seeing a big pullback in markets right now. Look at this dip. It's a big pullback here. Should have bought the dip like I wanted. Trying to figure out which account I want to trade here. Markets are kind of whippy here. All right, we did get into a trade here on this account. Let's see where it goes. I'll take another piece off up there. We can maybe hold the rest break even and just see if we keep bouncing back here. There we go. Take a piece off into that. We got all this support right here. I could probably hold the rest break even. I'm still very green on the day. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll just hold the rest break even. See if we keep popping up. There we go. There we go. I think I got to cut it right there now. All right, it's a pretty good trade there. We'll take it. Green is good. I didn't miss it. I got 5 accounts. I don't even know which account y'all see right now. I have to go look, but... AMD creeping back up to 244s. Again, check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. I'm on Top Step right now. No PDT rule. Some of the most reasonable payouts, reliable payouts. $50 is what it costs to get started. If you are new day trading, do not fund your own account thousands of dollars. You're probably going to lose it. Let's be honest here. Most day traders lose. It's like 90%. Why fund your own account thousands of dollars trying to look cool? You're probably going to lose it. Instead, try this. It's $50. If you fail, it's not the end of the world. You're still risking something. You're learning how to trade under pressure. And if you pass it, 90% split once you're funded, 50K funded account for the base one, similar to funding your own account. It makes perfect sense. Great way to limit your risk. They pay out millions and millions of dollars. Incredibly reliable. Check it out. Here's the link. I'll pin it to the top of the chat. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. Top 3 most biased ever. I don't even claim to be a good trader, though, guys. I'm not an investment professional. Some of you guys would definitely agree with that. But don't copy me. Yeah, just to look at some of my stats here. Like, we're down a little bit on this account today. But we're doing pretty good in this one. My graph is pretty solid here. You know, this is the last month. So we've had 3 losing days in the last month out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 3 out of 17. That's better than 80% daily accuracy. I'll take it. Green is good. We got a bunch of accounts, though, right now. Oh, here's another one. This chart's even better. Look at this account. Look at that one. Look at the NASDAQ break over highs here. NVIDIA's pushing towards 200, I think. Like I said, right here. $200. Flying up right now. Still up. Should have held. Top 3 should have held traders in the world. But look at this. Here's another account. In this account, we only have 2 losses out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 2 out of 13. Again, better than 80%. I'll take it. Other accounts are not as good, though. You know, here's one of them. Still good. I mean, I don't think these are necessarily bad. The graph still looks nice. Here's a different one. Here's a different one too, and this graph still looks pretty good. All right, I gotta exit out of this and wait a second. That's basically all the accounts. Here's the other one. Oh. Do not copy me, not an investment professional though. NASDAQ is breaking high after high today, though, guys. NVIDIA almost at $200. The question is, does NVIDIA stop at $200? I think the question we should be asking. President said, if we end the filibuster, it'll be impossible to beat GOP. I think we're going to court over blue slips. How do you decide which account to trade? You know, I roll a dice and I'm like, hey, this account is the one today. You know, it's kind of like Toy Story when they get the aliens out of the machine, you know. All All right, we're up to 590s. Nasdaq still breaking highs. Nvidia right there at 200s. Right there at 200s. Any big news today? Yeah, we got ISM services data, which is arguably larger than manufacturing. So we have ISM services data at 9:45 and 10 a.m. Again, here's 200s. I think you could argue Nvidia pulls back at 200, but it could also rip over it big and run. I'm not sure. Let's watch to see if the Nasdaq does anything here. ISM is the Institute of Supply Management. It releases ISM Manufacturing, which came out Monday, and then ISM Services, which came out Tuesday. Or which came out today. Comes out today, sorry. We probably have some this evening for earnings. Gonna run at 210 by the end of the day. Yeah, look at the Nasdaq, guys. AMD making a pretty big green candle here a minute ago as well. Bitcoin is running up. It's at 103 215s right now. So Bitcoin, everything kind of heading up here. Maybe on the president's quotes. Again, president says Chinese President Xi is a friend of mine as much as he can be. He tells Republicans it's a mistake not to end filibuster. He suggests they should end filibuster this afternoon. And again, he said if we end the filibuster, it would be impossible to beat GOP. This is a quote. And again, just to give you guys like the understanding of this. Just to give you guys the understanding. The understanding of this. The reason they don't just end the filibuster, because you could say, oh, well, the government can resume today. The right could resume the government today. They could. But if they do, it sets the precedent for the left to do it when they get power. Right? And so if they end the filibuster today, what's going to happen is that instead of going by the filibuster in the future, they're going to go by simple majority. And then once a simple majority is done, which would mean like essentially what this means is that if the right did change that precedent for something like this, then when the left gets power, they're going to do a similar thing. And so what's going to happen is each side, whenever they get power, is going to have even more power to do things. You know, that's the question mark regarding whether they should or shouldn't. And again, I'm not political. I'm pretty neutral politically. I hope the government shutdown ends however it needs to end. But Nvidia back at 200s here. All right, I'm gonna see if we got any. The president said, I am going to Miami today for a big speech. What will he talk about in Miami? I don't know. I have a decent sized portfolio and AMD's my largest one. Yeah, I mean, AMD's up a massive, massive amount though in a month. AMD was at 160s on October 1st. It's now at 245. You know, that's a big move. Even with it negatively reacting to earnings, AMD's up a ton in the last month. That's a huge move for AMD. Right, exactly, Kay. That's essentially what would happen. It's like when each side has power, they'd have more power. And so we see these big pendulum swings when when one side gets power, they do things, and when the other side gets power, they do things. And really, I'm a centrist. Like, I'm very neutral. I don't want either side to have too much power, realistically. I think they're both toxic in their own ways, you know? I think both sides pander to different people who just kind of side with them because, you know, they're part of the group that they pander to. And I think overall, both sides are unreasonable. Again, most people probably dislike me because I don't go super hard for their side, but I'm very neutral. I go by policy mostly, and, you know, once you get to the top, it's all the same anyway. Anyways, Nvidia at $200 a share. Yeah, extremes are bad. 100% agreed. The more radical you get on either side, you know, the less reasonable you are, I think, you know. John wants the power, bro. Elect me. You know, I don't know what side I'd be on. If I'm elected, I guarantee we'll get the economic data every time it's supposed to come out. You know. All right, Bitcoin 103s. Bitcoin back up. It dipped below 100,000 for a small period of time. All the way back up. 100,000. We talked about this support level the other day here. We even drew it. I'm not going to say it's the most obvious support level of Bitcoin of all time, but it's definitely up there. You know, 100,000. Very clear support level, psychological support level, and sometimes those are the strongest ones, and I think people don't give the psychological levels enough credit. I think if you look at market movement here, just look at basic market movement. Where did Nvidia pull back to? It pulled back to $200. It pulled back at $200. Where did the NASDAQ stop just now? It stopped at 25.6. You know, you can keep looking at these levels. Here's 25.5 right here, look. Big psychological whole dollar level. And so I think people need to pay more attention to those. It makes it easier to pinpoint where we might stop, start. Like even 550 right here, look. 550s is right here. Look at this. Markets respect them. Not all the time. All right, let's see if we hold. Again, Nvidia hit $200 a share. Let's see if we can get over that level. Yeah, the question is, like, we might make a little pit stop bounce for Bitcoin here. The question is, does it hold? Or does it continue down? You know, it's certainly possible it continues down. All right, so the president ended remarks. He said, I'm going to Miami today for a big speech. Tell us what the speech is about, bro. I need to know whether I want to pay attention. Hopefully the government shutdown ends. I don't think he can't even end it, but like, you know. There's no chance it ends because I think he said it's probably not ending soon. He did say the market would hit record highs. Also, U.S. Trade Rep Greer is going to attend Supreme Court hearing on tariffs. And I think that hearing starts at... I think it starts at 9 o'clock. But I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, let's look at some stocks. What's some stocks to look at, guys? List some in chat if you want me to look at it. Tell me your time frame as well. That you know, that's what, not an investment professional, but tell me the time frame you guys want me to look at it. Do you agree no news is good news, though? For somebody that mostly covers economic news, no, I don't. I think no news is bad news. Worst news ever. For selfish reasons, let's bring back the economic data. SoFi, I'm in SoFi right now. And it's up to almost $30 a share. Been sideways for the last 3 weeks though, but very nice chart long term. I'm in it, so I'm biased. Top 3 most biased, but MicroStrategy. Yeah, I mean, MicroStrategy is just at the whim of Bitcoin right now. And so because of that, Bitcoin's been dropping. MicroStrategy's been dropping. It's down to 250s, although I like the business model personally, but we need crypto to hold for MicroStrategy's strength, of course. And if you look at a long-term chart, it does look a little sketchy. Soundhound, SOUN, AI-related company. Good trend, but doesn't seem to hold the big gains it makes. Right, so Soundhound, AI company, young stock. Last time it hit 25,000, it dipped all the way back to $5 a share. You know, and this was this year. And so I don't really like the trend. I think it makes too big of swings personally, but it also could be big risk, big reward, you know, based off of everything. I would look for it to hold over $10. I think that's like a milestone area. Hopefully it holds. I'm in HIMS as well. Still small, but I'm in it nonetheless. It's back down to 40, but I think I've scaled out of this. $40 seems like a pretty reasonable support level for HIMS. Hopefully it holds there. Big, same thing though. Big range, big upward and downward movements. Big risk, big reward, I think. Taiwan Semiconductors, TSM. I mean, I like this company. I think their Triton looks good. But they're dependent on a lot of stuff, so, but I like them as a company. I think as AI grows, microchips and stuff like this will grow. Semiconductors will grow. Enphase, struggling. Isn't the solar? Let me see. What's Enphase? What's the, yeah, they're a solar company. Solar's lost a lot of hype and a lot of attention. And again, I'm going to go back to this short. I did a short years ago talking about solar. People got mad at me. Solar salesmen got mad at me. The reality of it is the business model didn't make sense to me. For me personally. And maybe there's some stuff I don't know about it. But like solar, you know, they go door to door and they try to wholesale it and sell it for more and all that stuff. And all that stuff's good and fine. But like you're strapping solar to your roof and then you're basically saying it's not going to really pay you money until another 10 or 15 years. The question that I would always ask is like, wouldn't solar power technology grow so much within 10 or 15 years that the solar power units that you're paying off now are going to be outdated by the time you're done paying them off? I don't know. And again, I was just skeptical of the market overall. It kind of looks like we're pulling back now in solar. Are you guys optimistic about the solar sector? Because of that, this just looks like a terrible company to buy. Maybe it's cheap down here, but you're basically betting that it doesn't go bankrupt at this point in time. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about ENPH? CoreWeave had a deal with another company this morning. I think they reacted positively to it. Yeah, CoreWeave had a deal with another company that they're up from. Yeah, I don't know. I think this was Yahoo Finance going crazy. I lost a best friend of 40 years to political differences. No, sorry to hear. I tell my kids this. I'm like, look, you guys know me. I'm neutral politically. But don't ever go so deep in one side of the political spectrum that you dislike anybody that's on the other side. Because that's when you're just kind of like, you know, humans are naturally tribalist. And so they, you know, but you never want to be that emotional about politics. Because everything's so environmental. Like, it depends on your environmental situation. Is going to influence what political affiliation you represent most of the time. And yeah, you got people like me or that are just don't like any of them. I don't like any politics. But ironically, I talk about politics more than I would like to on the stream. But yeah. Small scale do-it-yourself solar makes sense. Other than that, meh. Yeah. I think he'll probably get voted down, Flores, but I don't know for sure. Is Meta a buy soon? Is it at 585s right now? No, it's at 630s. Okay. Yeah, all I'm saying is I'm glad I didn't hold this because, man, what a drop for Meta. If solar doesn't make sense, why does Tesla do it? I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. What I'm saying is that it doesn't make sense for the consumer as of now. You know, people might still sell you solar panels, but it doesn't make as much sense for the consumer. And again, I think people go to door selling this stuff and they give you all these big arguments, and then in 10 or 15 years, their solar panels that they just paid off are now obsolete, and they're not really giving them what they want, and now there's better solar panels that they should have, and so then they get a loan for those, and they use those, and, you know, it's nuanced if you're really going to make profit from the solar panels or not. It seems like a stressful endeavor that I don't necessarily want to do for my home. But maybe you can make money, and I'm sure there's a lot of, again, what I'm looking at is the sector overall looks sketchy right now. All right, guys, NASDAQ is completely flat leading into the last 30 minutes before the bell. Yeah, overhyped is the easiest way to put it. I agree with Nick. It's overhyped. Like, it's been overhyped for the last 5 years. And we're now seeing corrections from it, probably justifiable corrections. And again, I had a... Let me find this. I'm sure I'm biased, solar-wise. I don't know where it went. I don't know. Maybe it's on a different platform. Gold right now. Bitcoin back up. Meta down. Well, Meta bounce right here, guys. Gold back up to almost 4,000. At 39.90, 39.85 right now. Look how sideways the NASDAQ is, though. It's chop. Definitely top 3 most bias ever. I disagree. I will not be friends with people that have different core values. I can overlook a lot, but I have a few values that are not negotiable. I get it. But politics is just meant to divide. You know? All right, NASDAQ now falling down heavy at this 9 a.m. Maybe some orders going through. Again, Novo said that talks are ongoing with the U.S. President administration. Yeah, look at this drop right here. Again, I think it's just the top of the hour, 9 a.m. Again, effective Fed funds rate 3.87. I want to see if the rate cut odds have changed here since the last time we looked at it. They're basically unchanged. We're still at 69% for rate cut odds from the ADP report. Again, we're at 69% for this, 31% chance of a pause, 69% chance of a cut in December. So it's still basically the same as it was earlier this morning ahead of the ADP data. All right, guys. NASDAQ dipped a little bit here. We're still trying to hold. We're going to be day trading live at the opening bell today. We're mostly green on the day, I think, here. And most of the accounts that we're trading on as well. I think we're red in one account, green in two today. All right, NASDAQ starting to pull back some here. Do you guys think it's time to buy Meta? It's up a little bit today, though. It's at 630s. Again, here's AMD. AMD earnings yesterday impacted things. We got some earnings today, but they're not as big. Like, we had Novo, McDonald's, Unity, and more this morning. This evening, we have Robinhood, App, IONQ, QCOM, Dutch Bros, Snapchat, AMC, and more. So we do have some earnings after the close today. Yeah, you're probably right, South. I'm sure some are going to do okay. All right, so we are pulling back some here. Do I want to buy this dip? We get down to 550, I'll buy it. I don't really want to buy this yet. There's almost 560s. Yeah, Nvidia's on the 19th. That's right. We do have ISM manufacturing or ISM services today. I forgot. ISM services after the closing bell, guys. ISM service, not the closing bell. After the opening bell, ISM services drops. We also have regular services PMI at 9:45. ISM services at 10. The big one's ISM services, but we'll cover 9:45s as well. Yeah, so the Canadian Prime Minister Carney said that U.S.-Canada talks have not resumed. Have not resumed. All right, we're at 566s here. Maybe I should have bought the dip. Lyft earnings. Should have bought the dip. People should buy Meta. Very good PE. Cheapest Mag 7. I should have bought the dip, guys. I wanted 550s. It went down to 560s. NASDAQ now technically green on the day, though, so it's slightly green on the day. Previous closing, now it's back red. Amazon says Whole Foods Market debuts new store within a store experience at new automated micro-fulfillment center in Plymouth. Google also introduced hands-free conversational driving experience in Google Maps built with Gemini. Again, we do have services PMI 945, ISM services 10. NASDAQ fighting its way back up. Nvidia is still right at $200 a share. It looks like it wants over it now. AMD at 246 is here. Maybe 250s is like a level for AMD. I think it's right around the previous closing price for AMD as well. The Nasdaq's looking strong. Find $1 for every time you say I should have. Yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna say I should have bought the dip after we rip up big. But I gotta stick to my levels here. I should have bought Amazon 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But thus is life, you know. I would buy Meta if I didn't get beat up buying it earlier this week or last week. Question is, does Nvidia break $200 a share? If I think it does, I should buy it right now. Okay, we're gonna buy this dip right here. It's a dippy enough dip to make me want to buy it. We're gonna start small though and add to it if it does okay. All right, we're flat. Now we're green. It's very small. We'll take larger size after the bell. There we go. There's a pop. There we go. Give a little bit more. We're small enough size where we can be patient here. There we go. Nice. We get out a little bit up there. Oh, it retraced right where I was gonna get out. Looks like other traders decided to take profit there too. Oh wait, that's fine. I just have to mark it out the next time we get up there. Nvidia making that second test to 200s. I want to add any more here. I don't think so. We got 20 minutes before the bell, so I think the president already spoke. I think he speaks again at 1 o'clock today. Like about 1 o'clock, he speaks again. Yeah, I'm going to stick to my risk level in this one, which is at about 58. I think I just got to stick to it. We already got a cushion on the day on this account, so we'll stick to it. Police technology. Yeah, I don't know much about it. AXON. Down a lot, though, but it's down to big percentages. Kind of makes me nervous. You know. Should have bought Nike in 1984. That's right. All right, we're back to almost flat here. I'm going to cut one of these and just sit on one and just not be super worried about it. Maybe add back if we get a reasonable enough entry, just for risk management purposes, I think. We're green on the day. I don't want to, you know, we got close enough to my stop to where I don't feel like risking too. Now you can use limit orders. You can get on the bid or the ask or whatever you want to do. Looks like me cutting it right there was the right decision. But Palantir, yeah, Palantir's down a lot. But you're trading against Michael Burry. Might be a good decision. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but maybe I shouldn't have covered that position here. I should have just waited. Yeah, gold's right under 4,000 too. Here's gold right here, 4K. All right, guys. When will the government shutdown end? Let me know your dates. Let me look at the poll. 71% of people think we cut rates in December now. It's right on par with what the Fed odds are on the Fed website as well. Let me end this poll. Do another poll. I don't have much confidence either, Tiny, today. At least I haven't so far. Top 3 most confidence driven. Wait, what was my question to the... What was I going to ask here in the poll? When will the government shut down end? All right, so we got this week, next week. This week, next week. All right, I'm trying to get my questions right. So November 24th through the 30th, or December plus. All right, there's a good poll. All right, vote on the poll. When will the shutdown end? This week, next week, November 24th through the 30th, or December plus? Let me know. All right, guys, 15 minutes. Most people think this week so far. I think this week as well. All right, I'm going to try to strategically add to this position here. See if we bounce up with NVIDIA. NVIDIA looks like it's retracing all the way back up to maybe retest 200, but we'll give it a second. What's AMD doing, right? AMD's dipping heavy. All right, we're gonna start covering our position. We're down like very small, but we're just gonna get out. Too much red. NVIDIA rejected 200 again and then didn't really hold, so. Stoic, you're copying me, bro. I said by Sunday this is when I think it's gonna end. I'm not saying you're copying me, but that's my date too. So I think it'll be end by this Sunday, personally. Yeah. I think it'll be in by Sunday. I think with tariff hearings today is a wild card. Yeah. Maybe I just hope it ends by Sunday, but I don't know, man. Like, I hope it ends by Sunday. I'm not, like... I know it's not 100%. Nothing's 100% in this market right now with all this stuff going on. But I hope it is. NVIDIA, AMD look like they went a little bit higher here. Let's see if they continue back up and it drags the NASDAQ up with it. Saying this weekend too. I hope sooner, but this 1,001 odds thing I would like to hit. Yeah, you don't have that long, do you? You don't, you know. Yeah. I mean, that 1,001 thing, I mean, look, when is it? Do you think, was it by December for your 1,001 odds? You know, something like that, December. December 1st and after. I mean, I hope you're wrong, but, you know, I hope you're wrong. The question is, what's the likelihood they do the nuclear option before then? All right, so Schumer and Jeffries seek meeting to end the government shutdown. I see this reported 6 minutes ago. So Democratic leaders, Senator Schumer and Representative Jeffries, send a letter to the president demanding a bipartisan meeting to, quote, end the government shutdown of the federal government and decisively address health care. It says they stand ready to meet with you face to face anytime, any place, the letter said. They ended it in, thank you for your attention to this matter. Let's end it, bro. Y'all end it. Y'all meet. I mean, again, the problem with this letter, okay, like there's a couple problems. They ended it kind of in a mocking way, which I don't know is necessarily the right move. If you genuinely want to end the shutdown, I don't know if that's necessarily the right move, right? Number one, just objectively, non-political, you know, person here. I don't know if that's the best way to end it if you want to really get a deal done, especially with the president, which can sometimes be kind of hot-headed. You know, I don't know if that's the right move. Number two, the right's been pretty hard stance with the healthcare thing, you know? So everything sounded good until they said, address the Republican healthcare crisis, right? That's where it's like, I don't know if the right's going to go for that. They've been pretty hard lined with what they want. And so I hope this happens. Let's see if the president responds. I'm for it, but not optimistic. I mean, I would argue they both are, but, you know, and again, I'm not really rooting for either side here. My point is that there's things in that letter that don't, like, there's things in that letter that might not soothe the disagreements. All right, guys, we got 9 minutes left. 9 minutes. Look, I mean, Lenny, look, I'm not going to get into the specifics. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't be hardlined with anything. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm not getting into the specifics. I'm neutral. Even if I wasn't neutral, I wouldn't talk about, like, whether I agree or disagree with either side. Outside of, I want the government to resume. You know, that's all I'm saying. I'm not blaming anybody. I think it's kind of both their fault, both sides. But I'm not getting into specifics on that. Somebody asked me about the New York mayor thing. I'm not getting into that either. I'm staying neutral on all of it. Yeah, at the very least, they should get together and figure it out. Realistically, I think they both should compromise. You know, on both sides, I think they should. I think I think a good compromise is neither side walking away with 100% of what they want. And so just let that happen, you know. Let me be the mediator. Are hot dog sandwiches? I would argue yes. Anything that has meat in between two buns is or two pieces of bread is a sandwich. You know, then the question is a taco a sandwich? You know, it gets deep after that. I'm not going to go into it. All right, guys, NASDAQ still dipping down here. Again, I'm kind of quietly waiting to trade. We got 7 minutes left until the opening bell. A little bit less than that, about 6.5 minutes. Well, some tacos, sure. I'm a corn taco guy myself. I try not to eat bread as much as I can, you know. Six minutes here, chat. 6 minutes. PB&J is definitely a sandwich. I said anything that has meat with two pieces of bread in between it is a sandwich. I didn't say there weren't sandwiches that didn't include that thing. What I was saying is, you know, that's my argument, and I'm sticking to it. All right, we're down to 550 here. Let me see if I can buy the original dip I wanted in the first place, which was 550. We're kind of close to the opening bell, but that's okay. All right, we bought this dip at 550 again. Let me see, what account is this? Let's see if we hold. Again, remember, we got ISM Manufacturing PMI today, or ISM Services, 10 a.m. Oh, man, I looked the other way, and we're dropping here. I should have known we had the market on open coming out. I should have known. Again, the president is supposed to be giving a big speech on the economy at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, chat. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The president's supposed to be giving a big speech on the economy. And we're kind of flat today. We're down in this account that we're on. We're green really nicely in the other one. I think we might be net green anyway, but it's close. Yeah, I got to cut that right there. Burgers are definitely sandwiches. Again, hit that subscribe button, guys. Get into this heated debate on, you know, what's a sandwich. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. We cover all the data as soon as it comes out. As soon as the ADP data comes out, we gave you guys the answer to it faster. You're welcome. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate the love. Look, I asked AI this question here. I'm going to give you guys the answer because it coincides with what I argued in the first place. A burger is a type of sandwich, right? Yes, technically a burger is a sandwich as it fits at the dictionary definition of a filling served between two pieces of bread. Very similar to my definition. However, many people consider them to be in separate categories, and those people are wrong. A All right, guys, here we go. 2.5 minutes left. Will we have a bullish or bearish open? Chat, bullish or bearish open? Let me know in chat right now. Put bull or bear in chat. ISM services at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got regular services PMI at 9:45. People are all optimistic about this letter, but if you read the letter, I don't know if it's necessarily the most calming thing for the government shutdown. All right, guys, a minute and a half left until the opening bell. Let's see what we get. Remember, we got ISM services data 10 a.m. Regular services at 9:45. Bear. I see mostly bears in chat. Most people think we're going down at the opening bell. Let me know right now. Here's the opening bell in 1 minute here. 1 minute. Look at that 200 exponential here. Not looking good for NVIDIA. Yeah, NVIDIA all the way back down under 200. Didn't really break 200 here at 198.80s now. Right at the previous close, though, if it holds here. Look at gold fight its way back up ahead of the opening bell, too. Gold almost back up to 4,000 here. I think that's one of the dynamics you want to pay attention to after the opening bell as well, as gold getting close to 4,000. All right, here's the opening bell, guys. NVIDIA testing the previous closing price. AMD dipping all the way down. Ding, ding, ding. There's the opening bell here. NASDAQ bouncing a little bit so far. Got a little pop at the open, but NVIDIA is now technically red on the day. AMD making a move up to 245, 246 for AMD. A little bit of a rebound short term right now. NASDAQ previous closing price is 25,577. So we're getting kind of close to that. If we take a look at Apple here, Apple's flat. Amazon down pretty big at the open. Let's see if we fight our way out of this here. Getting some green from AMD at the opening bell up to 247s. Chat, 247s. NVIDIA back up to 199s now. Green action since the open here. I got to wait at least 5 minutes to let this play out first, but we are getting some green. ISM services is at 10 a.m. Chat, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got a little dip. It's too close to the bell for me to take this. Canada services PMI also came out. Jefferies raises Caterpillar price target to 700. Big pullback here from NVIDIA. Look at NVIDIA dip all the way back down under the previous closing price. It dragged the market down on a red candle just now. AMD still moving up though, but NVIDIA retraced. And look at the rest of the market follow it. Amazon still breaking down at the opening bell. Where's Meta at this morning? Meta's breaking down as well since the open. NASDAQ breaking down here. Look at this drop. Look at NVIDIA here. This is NVIDIA related. 197s for NVIDIA. We're too close to the bell for me to trade. AMD back up to highs of the day, though. 247s. Microchip's starting to head back up some, a little bit at least. Meta's bouncing. AMD's up to highs at the open, 248s. Again, we have services PMI data at 9:45, guys. That's in about 12 minutes. Look at AMD, almost green on the day, almost back up to 250s here. AMD tapped the previous close. Let's see where the market goes leading into this. See if we break it. All right, guys, we're about 4 minutes into the day, about 4 minutes. Trying to get over that 550 level again. I'm going to short this right here. We're a little close to the bell, but AMD's pulling back enough. And NVIDIA's right at the previous closing price. We'll take 2. There we go. Take half off there. See if we got a drop. There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm going to cut it right there. You love to see it. 550 is what we shorted. I saw NVIDIA start to turn back down too. Should have held. Should have held for sure. Look at 500 right here, guys. Look at this drop. What is driving this? Apple. Apple falling down here is what this is. Look at Apple. Apple at 267s right now. This is Apple dropping. Look at this drop here. Man. Would have been a great short. And we're starting to bounce back up. We do have services PMI at 9:45 in 10 minutes here. 10 minutes. At 500 level holding. But things are looking a little weak here. Yeah, Tesla too. AMD dipping down pretty big too. Tesla at 448s. Here's AMD. Hit 250 and then rejected. Our market's scared. Amazon had a pretty red open as well though. Bull or bear right now, guys, relative to where we're at now. Bull or bear? There's 550 again. Breaking all the way underneath it, not even stopping there. Let's see. No, maybe not. Still dropping here in the NASDAQ. S&P at the open. Bear, puts. Not really sure. Still dropping. AMD went under the VWAP here. I'll try to short this, but it's kind of a risky position here and it's small. So we'll add to it, try to get a little bit better average here. See if we retrace back down and chop. And it looks like we're not. We got a big bounce. We're going to cut it. I don't want to lose too much there, so I'm going to switch accounts. Look at this reversal here in something. Wow. What a drop. Or what a move up. Thinking about shorting 550, but I'll wait. Yeah, I should have gone long there for sure. This is Nvidia kind of creeping back up, making another test, but what count is this? Yeah, so we're seeing if 550 rejects us more, but basically made our money back in this one. But I'm gonna sit on this a little bit longer. Famous last words. I gotta cut it within 6 minutes anyway. I just want to see if we retrace back down. We'll add a little bit to it here, maybe 5. If we get that retracement back down, and we're close. Popped up a little bit too much for me here. There we go, that's better. Oh, you guys can't see it, sorry. I'm looking at Nvidia right at the VWAP 200 exponential here, but bulls do look like they're getting more control. We'll cut it. Oh, we just added to it. I didn't want that at all. Okay, we're green now. Okay, that ended up working out somehow. Accidental. Back and forth here, guys. Again, we do have services PMI 945. ISM services is the larger one, though. Switch back. I don't want to risk too much in this. Yeah, I give it a second. If it doesn't work, I cut it, but we got a V-shaped recovery here, and AMD looks to be wanting to go back up. Same thing with Nvidia. It looks like they want to go back higher here, but I don't know if I should pivot to a long or what should I do. We did pivot to a long. Kind of scaling out of that long now. See what we do here. We got 4 minutes left until ISM PMI data. Unless people know something. Oh, sorry to hear, Kato. We're getting some drops showing up. Again, we got PMI data in like 3 minutes. Look at this drop. Bank of America CEO says consumer continued to spend up to 5% year to date. Let me see if there's any other breaking news. I don't see anything yet. We do have services PMI 945 today, guys. Services PMI 945. Two and a half minutes. All right, here we go. Big dip ahead of this report. Again, services PMI. The first one's relatively small. The ISM data is the big one. So that's the one you probably want to pay attention to. It's expected today, just to put this into perspective, at 55.2, 55.2, 54.2 is what it showed up at last time. 55.2. The ISM one is expected at 50.7, so a little bit weaker for ISM data, which is the Institute of Supply Management. Got about a minute left. Markets are mostly flat. Nvidia looks like it's trying to go green on the day right now, though, as we speak here. All right, here we go. We got 1 minute left, chat. 1 minute. Yeah, AMD did get some upgrades from their earnings. Gold pulling back some now. Here's Bitcoin. Back up to 103.5. All right, here we go, guys. We got 40 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. We cover it as soon as it drops. Again, it's expected today at 50.5, or no, it's expected at 54.2, 54 roughly. All right, here we go. 20 seconds. All right, here we go. And it ended up showing up at, again, 55.2 expected. 54.8, weaker than expected. 54.8 versus 55.2 expected. 54.8, 55.2 expected, weaker than expected. Kind of flat, to be honest, depending on which place you look. But again, 54.8 versus 54.2 expected. Global composite PMI was actually a little bit stronger than expected, but again, 54.8 versus 55.2 expected. A little bit weaker, basically flat. And again, the ISM services one is the much bigger report. NASDAQ reacting well to this. We are seeing some upward movements here. Again, stick around for the next 15 minutes. We got the ISM services PMI report. That's the bigger one. Nvidia looks like it's creeping back up to almost 200 a share. If we get a dip, I might buy it. But market's been kind of swinging back and forth. We're actually very green on the day in most accounts. We're green in 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4 green. Again, 10 a.m. ISM services. NASDAQ, I wanted to buy a dip. We just didn't quite get it yet. I'll put the expectations up. We do have ISM services. ISM service expected at 50 even. Drops live here at 10 a.m. We did have ADP. Again, it showed what? 42,000 jobs. In September or in October. Again, you can see the ISM expectation at the bottom of the screen here. NASDAQ's flying up. Nvidia up to almost 2. All right, NVIDIA at $200 a share here. Let's see if this is a stop place, but NVIDIA is looking strong after a couple weekdays. Eli Lilly. Look at the NASDAQ go here, guys. AMD bouncing too. NASDAQ going. NVIDIA over 200s. The median age of first-time home buyer has gone to a record 40 years old, first-time home buyer. Up from 33 in 2021 and 29 in 1981. Well, that makes a lot more sense. Houses were a lot more affordable back then. Let's be real here. All right, NVIDIA down under 200 now. And AMD is now kind of catching up, though. AMD is almost at 250. It might want to go green on the day as well here. Gold's fading down at 39.81s. 10 minutes left. I'll put a timer up for ISM services. We have 10 minutes left until ISM services data here. Again, we have services PMI. It's called non-manufacturing PMI as well, though, but yeah, so President said to speak at 1 o'clock about economics. We'll see what he says. Good or bad things, chat? Good or bad things? Somebody saying that homes were not more affordable in the 80s. Okay, so we're talking home price versus income. All right, home price versus income in the 80s. Home prices were approximately 3 to 3.5 times the median household income. Significantly lower than it is today. Today, that same ratio in 2024 showed 6.2x. 6.2x times the median household income today. So again, in the 80s, it was 3 to 3.5x. Today, it is 6.2x, roughly double what it was in the 80s. So basically, now relative to the 80s, home prices are 2 times less affordable relative to your average household income. Anyways, NASDAQ's breaking over highs. All right, guys, we got 8 minutes left. 8 minutes. Yeah, I mean, interest rates were wild in the 80s. I agree with you guys there. You know, early 80s, mostly. Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at interest rates, early 80s, 18%. Y'all think 6% is bad right now, you know? AMD's still moving up ahead of services. Yeah, so the president is going to be speaking about some type of economic outlook or something like that today. I think it's at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 1 o'clock. We will see what he says. Tesla dipping down again. Again, NVIDIA trying to break 200s. AMD is now technically green on the day relative to where it closed yesterday. So AMD closed right here yesterday at 250. It's now at 252s. It's now net green from earnings yesterday for AMD. It's now effectively green from its earnings yesterday. Cooling a lot of the fears about microchip weakness. Still had some pullbacks over the last 2 days, but and microchips are still down net from that, like where we opened up yesterday morning. But we are rebounding some right now heading into ISM services. All right, guys, 6 minutes until ISM services. NASDAQ is flying up here. Very green as of now, very green. Again, NVIDIA at 200s, AMD at 252s. Still popping up here. AMD 252s. We haven't really stopped, honestly, in the last like 10 minutes here, chat. I don't know if it was the services data. Maybe people are baking in like a good service report today, but it was mostly flat. Again, ISM services, chat, coming out soon. We're starting to dip down. We're at 25,650s here. NVIDIA back under 200s. AMD might have a bounce level at 250s. Again, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. Great way to help support the channel. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, some currencies. Most day traders lose money. And so it's a great way to learn how to day trade when most day traders lose. I'll put the link up. Again, they're a sponsor. I'm biased, but genuinely useful. Allows you to limit your risk. Get started for 50 bucks. If you pass it, 90% split, which is similar to funding your own account. If you fail, you're out 50 bucks. It's the best of both worlds. I'll put the link up again. Again, we got 4.5 minutes until ISM services. We'll see what this does. ISM services should move markets more than should move markets more than base services PMI. So more than 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, we should see more movement from ISM services because ISM services are generally more influential than base PMI data that comes from like market economics or something like that. So, yeah, Palantir down 182s. Palantir is fading down here. Can you not hear the music? I turned it down a little bit just based off of the song earlier. But 3.5 minutes left. There's AMD bouncing. Where at 250? Let's see if it holds now. We also got to see if NVIDIA gets back over 200. If we weren't so close to this decision, I might short right here, but we're too close. Oh no. All right, NVIDIA just ripped up here, guys. Hey, we got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. Hey, we got 2 minutes left. I'll show you guys my stats today, too, so far. There's 685s here. All right, here we go. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Should have gone with this level up here at 685s. A minute and a half left, guys. Still heading up here. We got a minute and 20 seconds. Minute and 20. All right, here we go, guys. 45 seconds before ISM services. 45 seconds. All right, here we go. 30 seconds. All right, hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're caught up on the stream so you're not super delayed here. And here we go. ISM services is expected at 50. It's about to show up right now. Markets are kind of quiet ahead of this report. It's expected at 50. And ISM services ended up showing up at 52.4. 52.4 versus 50.7. 52.4. Stronger than expected. Stronger than expected for ISM services. 52.4 versus 50 expected. Stronger than expected ISM services. Again, 52.4 versus 50 expected. Previously, it was previously it was 50 roughly. So again, stronger than expected ISM services. Again, it was 52.4 versus 50 expected. 50.8 last time. So again, NASDAQ is actually reacting negatively to this number here. Yeah, gold dipping down pretty big here. Again, if we look at the odds of rate cuts, yields have spiked today after a stronger labor report, stronger services sector. Yields have spiked. Look at yields spiking up right now. Oh. Spiking up a little bit for yields. Again, stronger than expected. Yields all the way up to almost 1.14%. 1.14% for yields. Stronger. Gold is dumping down as we speak here. Here's gold. Bitcoin's pulling back a little bit as well. Here's gold. Gold got close to 4,000. Didn't quite hold it here. And again, let's take a look at my stats for the day. We had another really nice green day in this account here. Really nice green day in this account. There's one account. Second account. No trades today on this one, but green nonetheless. Third account. I think we had a green day in this one too. Maybe a green day yesterday in this one. Third account is here. Here's the graph in this third account. You'll love to see it. Fourth account. Green day in this account. Medium-sized green day. Nice bounce back after a red day yesterday, but that's good. And then the last account we're slightly red. Slightly red. So that is my accounts, guys. If you want to check out Top Step, this is where I'm trading this stuff on. No PDT and futures. Great way to learn how to day trade. Yeah, if we look at the odds for rates, currently at 70+%. 70+%. Yeah. We'll see if we hold. I'm going to go ahead and again, check out Top Step. I'll put the link up one more time. Beautiful way to learn. Most day traders lose money. So if you fund your own account, you'll probably lose. It makes sense to limit your risk. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. So naturally, I'm top 3 most biased ever. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. But as soon as I close this stream, it's going to bring you to tomorrow's stream. Stick around. Check it out tomorrow. And yeah, y'all have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Green day again, mostly. Mostly green today. Mostly green. Let's hope the shutdown ends sometime soon. Y'all be good. Have a great day.